Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I will call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, November 16th, 2022, at 7 p.m. Roll call, please. Clerk Mosker.
Trustee Burbette? Here. Trustee Caveney?
Here.
Trustee Crowley?
Here.
Trustee Hilly?
Here.
Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Killily?
Here.
Mayor LaRue?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, I have the pleasure, once again, to present the check from our charity golf outing to Luminaria. Tonight, representing Luminaria is Carrie Zolfeld from St. Stephen's Church. Before I do, though, what?
Would you mind waiting until my wife gets here?
I thought you just brought that in.
I did. I said, could you wait like 10 minutes till she's here?
I thought she showed up.
No, I brought the check up earlier.
I still have the pleasure of doing it. We're doing it a little bit later because the check is still in the mail. All right.
Mayor, I'll let you reserve the right to do it later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then let's move on to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight?
Hi, the beautification committee is meeting tomorrow night at 7:15 here, and we're looking for volunteers to help us out to decorate on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Meet up over at the Village Green at 9 a.m. Anything else, Tom?
Did you?
I think that's good.
Jean, will you send me that flyer and I'll put it in our, make sure it gets in the constant contact email?
Yes, I will. I thought I did.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, I probably forgot.
Yeah, just forward it to me and I'll make sure it gets in there.
Okay.
Did you get any hits on the Facebook posts for volunteers?
No, not yet.
All right, we're trying.
Okay, just keep pushing it because we have a lot that we want to do and it's a lot for the four of us. And we have one that's out because she's going to be having surgery and what have you. And so that leaves us with 3 and Don.
Which is not much, but
And we're holding, he's going to come and we'll send him out for hot cocoa or something for us, you know, we'll let him do those runs. But we really could use the help. I mean, this committee is a small committee, like all of our committees are. We're very enthused, we're very excited, and we have so many ideas. But the only way we're going to be able to get these ideas done is to get people to come out and help. We also may need, I don't know if Mike's truck will be running yet or not, but we may need to have someone transport like 25 deers and a wreath from my house over to the Village Green. So that, you know, that's all up in the air. We'll see if his truck is fixed or not.
Let me know.
Right now it's on jacks in my driveway. So.
I know a couple of people who have pickup trucks, so we can probably
Okay,
help
that
out.
would be great. Plus, we would need to bring the bins from, that's right now behind the Public Works.
Deer and bins? Oh boy, all right.
Yeah, we have a lot.
the deer can just fly over.
Yeah, I would, you know, that would be cool. Zip line.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight? Public comment? Yes, sir.
I actually have a comment.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Please state your name and address.
Rich Sainer, 14925 Lawndale. And I'm here to praise Trustee Johnson of that. I had a street party, and she was there. My neighbor's been trying to get his sidewalk fixed for about 10 years. She got pictures and got it done within a month. Sidewalk's completely replaced. He was in Mexico with his family, came back to a brand new sidewalk. So thank you, Trustee Johnson.
Thanks. But it's not just me.
Well-
I talked to the resident, I sent Joe an email with the pictures. He went over, he's like, I can't promise anything, but we'll put it on the list to get it done. So this is a great way of showing that the village does work for our residents. So I was really happy that it happened. So
Thank
it was
you.
it was a perfect alignment. So it makes me look good, but I think it makes the whole village look
Yes.
good.
Well, we have a village that works.
Easy.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Okay.
Postscript.
I wanted to thank Kathy for, Trustee Johnson, for getting the handbook. I mean, we spent oodles amount of money on getting this done years ago, and she took the drive and went and did it. So thank you for finally getting that done.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. No? Okay. Now I'll close the floor to public comment. Move on to trustee business. Trustee Johnson.
So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jean, for introducing what I'm about to say. So as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, we found, of course, going through it one more time, that we had a few more edits to make. So we've cleaned it up, we've provided to you, and I'm very proud of this. It's taken a long time. We started about a year ago doing this, and I hope it's a great resource for our employees. And we also look at it as a living document, and what we'd like to do is also every 6 months, take a look at it to make sure we're up to date with our policies and to see if there are any things we need to tweak or change. But I hope the employees appreciate it. We'd like to make copies of it, send it to each employee, have them read it, also have them acknowledge with a signature that they've read it, and also to put this on the common drive so that they have access to it electronically anytime they have a question about it. So based on that, I'm sure you've all read it right before you went to bed. So I'd like to make a motion to have it finally approved.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Marshall.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Cagney.
Aye.
Trustee Burbett. Aye. Trustee Crawley.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Killily. Aye. Motion carries.
You all had to read it and approve it, so I just was,
It was riveting.
I know.
It was.
The cover page looks awesome.
And I actually like to thank Jackie Harris for taking it and making sure the pages matched and did all that stuff. So she made it look pretty. I just gave her the words. So I really, really appreciate that.
Sincerely, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of work, I know, but thank you.
But I think it'll help all employees. So my second thing is the events committee. We met last week and we had a really good meeting. And what I wanted to do was provide the board and also the residents two things. One was an accounting for our Oktoberfest. I know there was some question earlier this fall as to how much it was going to cost the village to have the event. So what I did was I provided an accounting of all the revenue. We took in $1,499. And again, I am thrilled that the residents, that the businesses stepped up and provided us with the funding to make it a good event. We provided the expenses and the list of all the expenses we had. The expenses were $1,793.37. Our overall budget for the events committee for the year is $1,500. Funds left over for the event committee to use for the remainder of the fiscal year are $1,205.63. So I wanted to make sure this was transparent, that everybody knew what we took in, what we spent, what we have left over. And I'm hoping this is the first of many events, which leads me to the other page. As we had the committee meeting, we talked about, a number of residents have asked when we are going to have set meetings. So what we decided to do is we like to meet on the second Tuesday of every month at 5:30 here at Village Chambers. We've set our 3 dates between now and the end of May. So we're going to be meeting on January 10th next year, March 14th, May 9th. We'll put these on the website so that residents can get involved. We want people to want to maybe be in charge of one of our events or help with other events. We know, as Jean said, committees are small, but we're always looking for residents, and that we had a positive feedback. Some of our ideas for 2023, and these are just ideas, we haven't finalized them, and that's why we want residents to come to the meetings to tell us which ones they like. We'd like to have a car and craft show maybe in June or July. We'd like to have a Halloween decoration contest, large displays or small displays, obviously around October. We'd like to do Oktoberfest again. Well, a new idea is to have a Midlothian 5 run and walk in the spring. One of the residents actually had emailed me. She'd like to have a senior prom. I think it's kind of a fun idea, and have it in May. We have to figure out where and all that, but I think it sounds like a fun for the mayor, beanbag tournament
Yes.
in the summer. And then we're open for other ideas, so please email me, call me, let me know your ideas. These are events for the village, for the residents, for people in the community, so we have nothing in stone, but we hope to have 4 to 6 events throughout the year.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Before I forget, Mr. Decker, you'll let me know when the property tax event is solidified?
That's set.
That is definitely set.
He's just gonna work on who specifically is gonna come from the county office, whether Fish is gonna come himself, or he usually sends like a representative or somebody from the office.
Will their office put out a flyer that we could put out to people, or are they expecting us to?
I believe so. That part wasn't really finalized. We just set up the date that he, going off of our conversation, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he picked, it was like the week before the 13th. So I said, why don't we do the 13th to give it more time to organize, plan, get a better turnout. Because on social media alone, there's been over 30 comments of people that are very interested to come. And then, of course, if we can live stream it either through somebody's personal account or through the village, just so people that aren't able to attend, or maybe some big questions that can be asked, you know, if they're not going to be able to be there. But he's excited. You know, once I told him that you and probably were already 100% on board, and I assume the rest of the board would be on board as well. You know, he just the only thing on his end is trying to figure out who's going to come from the county's office.
Okay.
Because there are some questions, in his experience, there's questions that come up that he doesn't necessarily have an answer to. He can always get back to people, but it's better to have, you know, somebody else here.
Yeah. Maria, can you mark down that day, Tuesday, December 13th, 6 p.m.? Let's make sure this chamber is available, and if not, we'll boot them out and make it available.
Is this something we should
And I-
advertise on Facebook or on the village website?
That's why I'm asking if they'll give us something to put out, or should we just make a statement?
I can talk to him again tomorrow.
Could you?
To see who wants to take the lead on promoting it. You know, I think just social media alone will get a decent turnout.
Well, we can also get it in the
the
Midlothian
website.
Messenger. You know, if you can get me the information, we can ask the messenger to do a press release.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll talk to him again tomorrow, and then I'll be in touch.
I have the other county contacts too, from the last time we did one.
From the actual county office?
Yes, yes. So I will just have him email me what he's looking for,
Okay,
and I'll send it on.
okay.
Thank you. All right, thank you, ma'am. Trustee Burbett?
I have nothing for the fire department tonight, but we had our finance committee meeting yesterday, and a recurring topic for finance committee is water, sewer billing. And one thing we all seem to see the same way or be in agreement on is the elimination of the minimum for the water bill. So I was wondering if we could discuss that with the idea of getting it on an agenda and bringing it up for a vote.
So the elimination of the minimum water usage for all residents, not just seniors?
For all residents.
I am 100% behind that, so whatever.
I do have a question. We're always talking about residents, but I don't recall we ever brought up businesses. Do businesses also have a minimum, or are they always using more than the minimum?
I can't tell you that definitively, but I would imagine that
Do
would
you
not
know
be an
that,
issue.
or Kathy?
I got the same water bill every month. I think there's a minimum.
I mean, do businesses have the same 6,000 gallon per quarter minimum that the residents have?
I think so, but they're billed monthly.
Right.
They're not billed
So
quarterly.
are we going to eliminate it for the businesses also, or just residents?
Well, right now, I think we only talked about.
We'd
the
have to consider it
residents.
again
We'd have
because
to
we
do the
haven't looked at
research.
figures for that.
Okay. That's fine.
I mean, the object is to help our residents.
That was the object here.
Yeah, okay.
Anyone else got thoughts?
I know that one of the things that we've been talking about this for a few months now, and we've done the research, and, you know, we're all feeling, I think, the struggle right now, and we know that prices are getting higher and higher, so hopefully this will allow people to be able to try and conserve. It's hard to conserve when you know you have to pay the bill anyway, so hopefully giving people a little bit more flexibility going forward with what they use being in connection to what they pay will help people, in managing this bill.
Yeah, also, I think that in addition to promoting that, if we're going to vote on it, if it is passed, we also need to work on some sort of blast advertisement for, the new?
Ion water?
Yeah, for Ion Water.
Well, you
I
should
kn-
wait till the December email, because I think there's a surprise in there.
Right.
Because, that's part of it, is in, motivating our residents to try to conserve more.
And we've looked at a number, I know a lot of us have looked at a number of things over the last, few months too. I know people have talked about monthly billing, actually getting a billing. We just can't afford to send the bills out every
Right.
month. So
It's too
people
expensive.
can pay monthly, so if you know your bill's always about $300, you could pay $100 a month towards it. But for us, it would increase our costs by triple
Right.
to mail out bills every month, because most of our residents still get physical mails, they don't get the email bill.
I go in and pay every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So those are some other things that we're going to be trying, I think, to push out. We've had lengthy conversations about it over the last few months.
Mhm.
Can you get that on the agenda for approval, or?
We'd have to, it's in an ordinance, is that right? The minimum billings is in an ordinance or a resolution?
I don't think it's in our ordinance.
I'm sure it's gotta be
Part of our fee
Is it?
schedule ordinance, I think, yeah.
Oh.
resolution.
Maybe.
Resolution or something.
Can you make that happen? I think this is probably a good time to remind the board too that we are signed on to be a user for the Southland Water Agency, where we'll be receiving water from Indiana instead of Chicago at a massive, massive reduction in cost to the village and the residents. Probably won't get water till 2035, but we're there, we're on board, and I actually believe that it was late 2020s that they were supposed to actually get water, but we're going into 2023 now.
Oh, don't.
So
start
anyways,
that.
it was something that we did for the long-range health of the village and the residents. Hope it all goes through. All right, that's all.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Hilly?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Okay, at this time, can I please the board to take a break and make the presentation?
Absolutely.
I was told to wait for you. So, as I was saying earlier, tonight it's my pleasure to be able to donate the check to Luminaria. Carrie Zofield is here from St. Stephen's Church. But before I do, I wanted to thank everyone involved in this outing every year, the sponsors, the participants, all the volunteers, most importantly though, Jack and Jody Hilly for once again spending a lot of time putting this together every year. Unfortunately, Mother Nature had other plans for us that day, and we lost out on the opportunity for several hours of extra fundraising. So I say that so you won't be too disappointed in the check.
I'm just grateful for anything we get. Our
It's-
clients numbers are improved, going up instead of down lately. St. Chris had over 200 families in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
So anything we get is very much appreciated.
All right, then I guess we'll.
You can, yeah, I'm gonna take a picture. You can.
Oh.
I have the real check too, so.
So, for everyone involved in the Midlothian Charity Golf Classic, really appreciate all your hard work, and we'd like to present you this check for $35.
Thank you.
Jody, we didn't wait this long not to have it. Here.
I want to thank you for all the hard work
Jack, get in the picture, I'll take it.
Yeah, Jack, yeah, you have to.
Go, Jack.
I got it.
Well,
I
don't
always try
be,
that too. Like I want to be the guy taking the picture so I don't have to write it.
I'm seeing our.
Very good.
Next year will be better, bigger and better.
Oh, you're fine.
All right. Thank you for allowing the interruption. Moving on to trustee Caving.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things this evening. I wanted to let the board and the residents know that the village has hired a new building superintendent. Steve Witt started on Monday, and things are going great. And Steve will be joining us at our first board meeting in December, too. And then also want to thank everybody again for participating in our Scarecrow display event. And we're going to be getting the Rain Ready Garden set up for Christmas trees starting next week. So we'll be working on that.
Awesome.
And Kathy, I'd like to thank you and Mark for holding down the fort in the building department in the middle of summer. I know it was a lot of work on your part and Mark's part, and I think
Thank
we
you
all
very much.
appreciate the fact you stepped up and you did what you had to do, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I second that. Do we need a second on that?
I'll third it.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Now take a vacation in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna next Wednesday.
Speaking of Christmas trees, Mr. Decker, I know I'm picking on you tonight. You're still on for the Friday after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it after we talk, I'm gonna leave it bailed until that Monday morning. You said, right, public works will set it on Monday?
Right. They won't be able to get to it until
Because
Monday.
my concern was laying it on its side, having like a flat side, because it's not going in the corner of the house.
Right.
It's gonna be viewed from all angles, so I'll just keep it bailed in a bucket, and then I'll bring it over there Monday.
The Decker family is donating the village tree on the village tree this year.
Ah, very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're gonna be bringing it out here the day after Thanksgiving?
We, as a tradition, go and get our tree the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so
I
you'll
asked
deliver it so
Gary
they can put it up Monday?
I
Okay.
asked Gary if that was too early, and he said, well, no, but it's not gonna be set up until Monday.
Yeah, that's,
So
no,
then
that's perfect.
I started
yeah.
thinking about a giant, 25-foot tree.
12-foot tree.
I've just been coordinating with Andy. He and I coordinate every year with the trees, so I'll let him know that he'll have it on Monday so they can put it up in
Or
there.
whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
whenever they want it, whatever.
Well, they're-
It'll be that Monday. 'cause
Yeah, it'll be Monday because they're closed for Friday and Saturday, so.
Yeah.
Great, thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you.
much.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Kilby.
Thanks, Mayor. Finance Committee met yesterday, and we talked about the tax levy for 2022. And we had a lot of discussion about this, but basically, Midlothian has a self-imposed tax cap, which mirrors the state tax cap. For home rule, we don't really have to have one, but the board, some years ago, thought it was a good idea to follow everybody else. And that tax cap is at 5%. We usually follow the consumer price index, but our ordinance states that if it's over, actually the CPI is 7%. And so that if it is over 5%, we take the lower figure, which is 5%. I looked up the Illinois statute this afternoon, and we don't have to have a public hearing or a notice in the paper unless our levy is over 5%. So we're going to go with 5%, I believe, unless anybody has any questions about that. We're going to approve the levy at the first board meeting in December. And that will give us plenty of time to file it with the county. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? Did I state that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Good job.
Number 2 is the South Suburban Land Bank had a virtual meeting today, and I continue to be impressed by them. They brought another, they're assembling capacity, as they say, which they have another staff person that we're going to hire. And this person's an expert in land banks from Indiana, Illinois, California, and a great resource. They're just looking towards the future for sustainability. This year, the property sales were the best they've ever been in the history of the land bank. And that's very exciting. Next year, they're not only going to work on property sales and work much harder on that, but also they have a dedicated team to try to get grant money from different agencies in the state. So they're just modernizing systems, making them automated, very, very, very high caliber work. We did bring up about, trying to get up to snuff on some of the things that have been from the prior administration that needed to be done, and they're working hard on that. So, very good meeting. They just have a lot of good things, and their legal team, I think Trustee Cavaney can attest, is top-notch, too.
Yes.
And a question from my end would be, Rady Lodge, are we working on, what are we doing with getting that?
So Trustee Cavaney came to me today and says that the appraisal we had done is not good, because the appraiser used all of the pins with all the parking into the appraisal. Bottom line is the village only owns 21, 22, 23, 24, which is parking for, 21 and 22 would be parking for Radio Lodge. I just talked to Attorney Valdez before the meeting, and excluding his belief, excluding all of these parcels would not change the dollar amount much. And secondly, getting appraisal done was just our responsibility legally to do it, and it has no bearing on what someone would offer us. So trying to get another appraisal done at the cost of, is it 5,000? No, 2,500.
2,500 would be the cheapest.
Well, I don't think that we need to have the appraisal redone. Can we just go back to the appraiser and ask him to adjust the numbers based on the fact that he included all the parcels that we don't own, but we lease them?
Attorney Valdez's point is that it doesn't make a difference if it's included or not. It's just a number.
Yeah, the purpose of the appraisal is strictly to be in compliance with the statute for a municipality to sell property. We can sell it for whatever we feel is right. That is just a prerequisite to be able to go forward. So I could tell you offhand that having ownership as opposed to an extended lease on those extra lots, probably going to make a $15,000 difference. And again, does that mean that that's what we are going to take, or that's what we ask for? No. The sole purpose of the appraisal is to meet the requirements of the statute. In the end of the day, only this board decides what we sell.
Okay, that's fine, but the point is then, we paid for an appraisal that was done incorrectly. He included lots that weren't supposed to be included as fee simple. They should have been included as leasehold. Yeah. I know it will change the value. It may not change the value that much, but it has an impact on the value. And if we just needed that for the purposes of being able to go forward to put it up for sale, that's fine. But it would have been nice to have a correct appraisal.
But yesterday you were talking and you thought that the process, just putting it up for bids, wasn't...
Well, I'm not that familiar with the whole process of selling municipal property. I don't know the difference between putting it up for bid versus hiring a broker to sell it. What's the difference?
When we did the old recycling lot on Waverly, the process was to put it out for bid in papers and whatever other sources. So We did not hire a,
Okay, and by doing that, then if somebody gives us a bid that we don't like, we're under no obligation to accept the bid?
we have no,
Absolutely right.
we have no obligation to take any bid.
Okay.
Literally, the requirement to get an appraisal is for transparent purposes.
Okay,
And once that is done, then the full authority to sell property at whatever price the village wants is within the people at this table.
okay.
But I also heard some rumblings that there may be starting a change of a mind of selling it or donating it to the park district. Is that,
Well,
I need to know what the board wants us to do to go forward.
well, the general discussion at the finance committee was that we didn't think that that was really a very valuable property. And I think part of the discussion was, you know, would doing something like we would give it to a real estate person, salesperson, and then ask it for bid to market it, would that bring the highest price? That was one part of the discussion. And the other discussion was that that's not a high-traffic area and not a lot of commercial properties around there, so we didn't think that it was going to get anywhere. We
And
didn't
it's
think it was
not,
going to.
and it's not zoned commercial, it's in a residential zone.
Right,
Yeah.
which could be, well, okay. So, I mean, I guess we're under obligation to try to, are we under obligation to try to sell it?
No, I just thought that was the direction of the board at the time.
No.
Did we, when we talked about this back in August, did we agree that we would put it in the paper for a bid and see what happened and?
That was what I understood, yes.
Okay, well, if that's what we discussed last time, then maybe that's what we should do.
If we're not obligated to accept the bid, it doesn't hurt to find out.
It's just, I don't
Not
know.
that any of us believe we're gonna get anywhere near that kind of money for
No.
that property.
But it's just if we're looking for the high, I don't know. I mean, if you have a real estate person, it doesn't preclude the idea that you can still get a bid, but the real estate person maybe would do a better job of marketing the property to get the highest bid possible and then do the bid.
To be clear, that part of the consideration, one of the reasons why the board can, at its discretion, decide to accept a bid or not, is what the development proposed would be. That is something that you can take into consideration. So
Right.
if someone wanted to offer you $500,000 for a nightclub, and another bidder wanted to offer you $100,000 for a retail store, you could certainly take the $100,000 retail store.
Okay.
But if we put it up for sale with the broker, do we still have that ability or no? If they bring us a viable offer and we turn it down legally pursuant to a real estate contract, if we enter into a listing
Those
agreement,
conditions would have to be put in the contract. between
we
us
would
and-
still have to pay a broker.
Which
Yeah.
seems to be making the situation more cumbersome.
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, that was something that would have to be expressed in the agreement between the broker.
My opinion is, recommendation is we just put it out for bid, see what we get, give it a 30-day timeline, 2-week timeline, whatever we can do, and make a decision end of the year, beginning of the year.
Okay, and then
Okay.
I can put out some bid qualifications in there so that you will have the ability to evaluate what the developer's intent would be.
Okay.
Because I know
Okay.
that that is what's going to
Yes.
move your decision.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley.
Well, I'll keep going with some of the things that happened, sir, at the Finance Committee meeting yesterday. One of our discussions, which is on our agenda for discussion this evening, is our general liability and our workers' comp insurance. We are in the process of waiting for an itemized list from our insurance carriers so that the department heads can review it and make sure that it's accurate. That's one of the things that the Finance Committee has implemented, is that with our vendors and with insurance, we're reviewing all contracts as they come up and having the department heads review to make sure they're accurate so that our charges are correct. So as soon as that happens, although it's on the agenda this evening for discussion, we are going to need to wait on that until we get the itemized list for our department heads to review and confirm or change. Anybody have anything else on that?
Yes, for an extension.
We're gonna see if when we're gonna get it from the insurance company. Maggie sent out an email late this afternoon. She was hopeful that we were gonna have it tomorrow. And we will be sending it out to the department heads, so if they can review it within the next week or so, we should still be okay. So it'll just kind of depend on if we get the itemized list tomorrow. We're kind of in a holding pattern. The other thing that we discussed at the Finance Committee is that in our last constant contact email, we discussed ARPA funds. As everyone may know at this point, the village did receive just under $2 million in ARPA funds, which can be used for a whole slew of things. Our primary goal is to use a lot of that money, or a big portion of that money, for public works projects, streets, sidewalks, water mains, things like that. Joe had an entire list of things that he wanted to use. But after discussing it further at the Finance Committee, I think we all agreed that we would like to also do something for the residents and for our businesses. So in the next few weeks, we have a couple ideas that we're gonna put out in a survey to the residents to see what the residents would feel is most beneficial. A couple ideas that have been tossed around are bringing back the 50-50 or 60-40 split with sidewalk repairs. That has been a big concern from a lot of residents that have reached out to all of us. Another use of some of the funds would be better lighting in some of our neighborhoods and some of our streets that are dark, bringing that, more light. We're looking at possible more light poles, or even possibly some decorative lighting along the streets or sidewalk in some areas that are very dark, that the village would use to use some of these funds for. So if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to send me an email. I'm going to put something together, hopefully, in our next email to all the residents, where people can do, if it's not this one, it'll be for January 1st, people can vote and say what they would like to see if we have a small reserve of ARPA funds that we can use in the community, what they think would be beneficial. And I think that's all we had. Did anybody have anything else on the ARPA funds? Did I forget anything?
No.
Okay. Next on my agenda, I would like to make a motion to approve the subscription license for the CDW switches to replace the switches in our server room. This is at a cost not to exceed $3,898.72. And what I'd just like to say about that before we vote on it is I really want to thank Trustee Burbat. He has gone through and figured all of this technical switches and servers, and it's not a virtual server, but I don't know, something along those lines.
Are those in the cloud or on the cloud? I had to ask.
And he's been a godsend to me, especially with this project. I can't thank him enough. Anybody who has seen our server room, it is 60 years of wires and things and stuff and technical things that is very, very overwhelming. So this has been spearheaded by Trustee Burbat. It is a budgeted item. So I'm making a motion to approve this purchase.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Burbatt.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on my agenda, I brought this up last week and I sent it out to the board, and I don't have my total. I thought I wrote it down here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of a budgeted item for new monitors for the laptops in the police department. And that is not to exceed,
$1,698.
thank you, $1,698.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Burbett.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Next on my discussion, I brought this up a few weeks ago, and I'd sent some information out to the board regarding entering into a contract with the grant company that we used to obtain the 3 positions for police officers. Did anybody have any questions or anything on it? I did talk to them, just so everyone knows, and they are willing to come out and talk to the board at a board meeting if everybody would like that. I could probably set that up for some time in December, but I just kind of really wanted to gauge where everybody's at and what people thought.
I would like that. Honestly, I've not had a chance to read the document, but I put full faith and trust in you. And if you
Thank
feel
you.
that this is a good company that we should go with, then I'm all for it, because we do need somebody, we do need someone in the village to help us with grants.
You know, I only know about them, what they've done for us. They did a great job for the police department in, getting the law enforcement grant. They had a pretty reputable list of people that they've worked with. I know they also got, I don't know the exact amount, but I thought it was $500,000 to $750,000 for Bremen High School for a connecting project. So I know they do work locally. My conversation with the owner of the company seemed very reasonable. The price was not astronomical for what we've already gotten from this company. It was, I think the gold package was like $22,000 or $20,000 for a year. We're estimating what we received in the grant to be anywhere between $500,000 and $750,000 with no match from the village. So, I mean, we're already, way ahead of the game in that area. But, they said they would come out and give us a little, conversation. We just have to pick a date. But I would like to talk about this, and if we're going to move forward on it, start fresh with the beginning of the year.
That'd be perfect.
Okay.
And Sandy, I had sent you an email. To me, this is worthwhile.
Yep.
This is their expertise. The amount of money we're going to spend versus what we could reap is going to be huge, and we need to start utilizing our connections to help partner with us to do better things for the village instead of always worrying about, we can't afford it. In the end, I think we'll get a lot more out of it based on what we put in.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't agree more.
For the record, can you state the name of the grant company?
I can, but I don't remember. I don't remember the official name right now. Off the top of my head, it's on my agenda, I think.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's just the grant company. That could be the name.
Ulysses grant?
Was that
Ulysses.
2
No,
weeks
it
ago?
was,
Well, we're not voting on it now. But
no, I sent it, hang on. Dan, do you remember the name? I can't remember either.
I mean, that can wait till we get, are we going to vote on hiring this company? That's the plan, right?
Well, I was going to have him come out and talk to us.
Okay.
And, 15 minutes at a board meeting.
At a board meeting? All right.
Yeah,
perfect. Then-
that's what I was
okay.
going to do.
It'll be on the record then.
Okay.
All right.
Was this administrative consulting
Yes.
specialist?
Yes, that's it. Administrative.
Administrative consulting specialist.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. And then my last 2 items are just, please, everybody, take a look on social media and on our village website, on our sign. I'm going to get it in the church bulletins as well, and hopefully in the messenger. We are fully in toy drive and Secret Santa mode. There is information pretty much everywhere you can think of. Last year was our first year that we added the official Secret Santa portion of it. And how that portion works is we reach out and work with the local grammar schools throughout the year. So our police department went to all the grammar schools, and again this year, and asked them to identify a few families in each one of the schools that were in need. That's how our children get picked. It's anonymous for the Secret Santa. Residents can sponsor a child. They can donate to one of our local boxes. The list is on our website and on our Facebook page. And this year, we are fully engulfing technology, and we have an Amazon wish list that if people go on and purchase, the donations will be sent directly to the police department. This is done in connection with our community policing and safety committee. And we will be running this through the 10th of December. So please, if you can donate, we would greatly appreciate it. Also, remember to mark your calendar for December 3rd. There's a lot going on that day. We have the Santa lunch, I know, which I'm looking forward to, but then our village Chamber of Commerce in connection with the village parade, which will be Saturday at 4 p.m. That's all I have this evening, sir.
I'm sorry, Sandy, so for the Amazon wish list, is it under the Village of Midlothian? How would you look that up?
It's on, I have a QR code on all the flyers. And
See the flyers, that's why I'm asking.
Who helped
Yeah.
you with that?
Huh?
I said, who helped you with that?
No, but I did it by myself. I'm telling you, the things I'm learning these days. And there's also a link that if anybody, it'll be on the village website, and it will be on, it's on some of our Facebook posts that you can just click on if you don't want to use the QR code. That's all I have, sir.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, ma'am. Attorney Bowers?
8 days ago, the voters of the state of Illinois passed a referendum which added some language to the Illinois Constitution. It provides for constitutional status of the right to bargain and negotiate conditions of bargaining units with municipalities and the private sector. My evaluation and review of the language indicates that specifically it does nothing more than already exists in the state of Illinois. Illinois has always been a profoundly union-friendly state, and so just about everything within the language is guaranteed by state statute or Illinois labor law. So I don't know that the ramifications of changing or adding that language to the Illinois Constitution in effect specifically changes much of anything, but I just have to advise the board that there's the potential for unique arguments to be made by various bargaining units that somehow that language adds something different that was already there. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. And then closed sessions for you also. Closed sessions for you.
If the board needs a closed session with regard to the Aunt Martha's petition, if not, there doesn't need to be one if you have any questions. Next week, Aunt Martha's will be, the decision regarding Aunt Martha's fee petition regarding the litigation that went on for over 2 years will be decided. I sent the board a copy of our brief in which it is, I think we did a really good job of stating that the Aunt Martha's did not prevail on most of the issues and therefore is not entitled to full attorney's fees. I'm prepared to answer any questions if the board feels we need to go into closed session. Otherwise, that decision will be next week.
Based on our conversation, there will be no arguments at this hearing. The judge will just make a decision and we're stuck with it.
That is correct. The village wanted to end this litigation as quickly as possible to avoid further costs. Put a provision in the fee petition part of the settlement agreement that the decision of the magistrate would be final. There'd be no appeal. And we also put in there that there would be no back and forth. Once they submitted a brief, we would submit a response, and that would be it. Aunt Martha's did try and go back after they saw a brief. I believe they did that because they saw it was a compelling brief, but we implemented the provision that said they don't get a chance to have another bite of the apple. So the magistrate will be going just on their brief and our response. No argument. And of course, the reason that I wanted to bring that up to you is because the request was for $350,000, and so that can have an effect upon the village finances. And I wanted to make sure that the board was fully aware of what the issues were, what the facts were, and when that decision will be coming down.
Thank you, sir. That's it. All right. Under my business, a couple things. Please join us this Saturday at the Midlothian Historical Society. Clerk Moskowitz and I will be up there working, changing light bulbs, and possibly putting up a Christmas tree. I think that might got thrown on our plate, so sorry, he just found out about it right now. 10 to 2? 10 to 2, I think. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the other thing I just requesting to the board, obviously next Wednesday is the board meeting before Thanksgiving, and I'm requesting an abbreviating meeting out of respect for any members up here that might have plans that night or prepping for the day after. So that's all I have. Clerk Moscow?
Just two short things I'll add on to what you just mentioned about next week's meeting. If you're sending Deputy Clerk Kalaki items for the agendas, please be sure it's clear if it's for next week. And if it is, please have it a consent agenda item, or if it's for the following week, just so she knows what dates those should be on there. And I think, speaking of Deputy Clerk Kalaki, did you have an update on the Hometown Heroes that you wanted to share?
Make sure you speak into the microphone. Hold the microphone up.
Just wanted to let everybody know, the first year banners that we issued in 2020, they've all been returned to everyone, or they're going to be returned to everyone, unless you don't want them, of course, which I think you do, but we can do that before the holidays if you like. You just need to let me know. Banners ordered in 2021 will be displayed again next year, so we're really excited about that. We have a lot of them. So for next year, if you want to reprint your banners again, the applicants must complete another application, okay? And the fee is $60, and we won't have to provide any of the pictures though, because we already have them with our current printer, which is wonderful. And any banners made within 2022 year will be displayed again in 2023 year and returned at the end of the season. So, but we're going to try and get in touch with everybody before the holidays and get the banners back to everyone. So, that's it.
Thank you. The cost did go up. The banner company raised it, yeah, so that's why our cost went up. And how many did you say we had out there?
We have like 118, I think.
It's fantastic. It's a great program.
But the majority of them were all in the first year.
Yeah, and we tried to do everyone a favor to go a third year with the banners, and yeah, mine's pretty pale. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Some of them almost look like black and white and
yeah.
gray.
So I got a close-up look at mine today, and it's pretty pale. So
They'll look fresh next year.
unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to stick with the 2 years. That's what the banner company recommended. We tried to help out the residents with cost, and they're pretty faded. So we'll have to stick with the 2 years going forward.
I want to, I also want to thank Deputy Clerk Kalaki for all the time she puts into this. As I think you've heard, there was a large group the first year, but it's been growing, and more people ask each and every year to add to it, and it's a lot of work to coordinate with the banner companies and the families and the requesters and getting pictures there, and those cool little proofs that they send, the little stand-up pictures, which are really nice. And getting the locations from Public Works. And so I've had a couple people, and I think you have too, in the last few weeks have been asking if we're going to continue it. I had someone ask me today what happened. I noticed it was down, and I kind of chuckled because we take them down every fall. But I appreciate all the work and the time you put into it. So thank you.
We'll be contacting everyone to see how everybody wants to get their banners back.
Deputy Clerk Kalaki loves this program as well as I do. But we are running out of poles to put banners on, so I can tell you that. So,
True.
yeah, so. All right, thank you. That's it.
That's it. That's all I have to
Okay. Then seeing there's no further business coming for the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.